So the eclipse is coming. The sun, moon, and earth will be in perfect alignment. This Monday at 3:19 in the afternoon, Toronto will witness a rare wonder. 99% of the sun's light will be blocked. So, of course, the question everyone is asking is, what's the bracha you say for an eclipse? What is the appropriate, the worthy blessing to recite when witnessing this natural phenomenon of God's wondrous design? Well, it may or may not surprise you to know that there is a machloket, there is a debate about whether or not to say a bracha at all, and if so, which one. Some rabbinic authorities teach that the catch-all bracha for all wonders of creation can be said for a solar eclipse as well. So when we see an impressive mountain or a flowing river or even a vast desert, we can praise God with the words, Baruch atah oseh ma'aseh v'reshit. Praised are you, O God, ruler of the universe, who performs the work of creation. Other rabbinic authorities teach that you should never use a general bracha when you can offer a more specific bracha. So there is a subset of all these wondrous works of creation. There is the specific wonder of an eclipse. And there is the subset of fearful natural wonders. So whenever we see a shooting star falling from the sky, or an earthquake, or lightning, or violent winds, there is another bracha to say. Baruch atah, praised are you, O God, shekocho ugvurato malei olam. Praised are you, O God, ruler of the universe, whose power and might fill the universe. So surely, witnessing a solar eclipse is such a rare and awe-inspiring, even fear-inducing event that it is worthy of this rarer mitzvah, this more specific bracha, reserved for natural wonders that make us aware of just how small we are, make us aware of just how ridiculous it is, how lucky we are that we are alive at all and able to witness God's universe. There is a third opinion, of course, this won't surprise you. In Jewish discourse, there's rarely just this or that. According to the Babylonian Talmud, Masechet Sukkah, there is no blessing to be said for a solar eclipse. Why? Because an eclipse is a sign of divine displeasure. Our sages conclude that an eclipse is a sign of warning, and no blessing should ever be said over a warning of bad things to come. On the other hand, the Mishnah teaches the principle that a person should recite a blessing over al-hara, kishem shemevarech al-hatova. Just as you might say a blessing over the good, you should also say a blessing over something fearful. Now, this is a significant theological claim, that God is worthy of praise when we witness something wonderful, and even when we witness something fearful or experience suffering. And therefore, we should say the blessing, Baruch atah, praised are you, O God, Monday at 3:19. The worthy blessing, shekocho ugvurato malei olam. Praised are you, O God, whose power and might fill the vast universe. Now, why is this question important? Why do the rabbis ask it? Because we are forbidden to say a blessing in vain. A bracha levatala, a blessing for no reason, for no purpose. That is taking God's name in vain, and that is considered not only inappropriate, but actually sinful, dangerous, a misplacement, a misuse of the holy name. So it's a real question. Now, if we take this eclipse metaphorically, and we speak about how the light of this world is diminished right now, that our light is threatened by the darkness of the daily news, here, there, and everywhere, it seems. Where do we turn to find light? Certainly Shabbat is a source of light each week. Surely a terrific bat mitzvah, taking her place at the Torah, is a bright light. Surely welcoming a new baby into the world and into the Jewish people is a bright light. Surely honoring devoted volunteers, and Paula in particular, she is a bright light for our congregation. So what is the worthy blessing? How do we give meaning to this darkness? How do we find just the right prayer for such a time as this? In the presence of our dark reality, let us speak only words that matter. Let us perform only acts that are worthy, that are in service of bringing about more life, more justice, more righteousness, more peace. Otherwise, this near total eclipse of the heart will consume us. So how do we choose our words with care? How do we express our opinions with extra care now? How do we ensure that we do not intentionally or unintentionally offer up a bracha levatala, a prayer that is unworthy, a prayer that takes God's name in vain? Some of you know that I was recently lucky enough to be invited to study with Rabbi Yitzhak Greenberg in Jerusalem. In February, we were workshopping his forthcoming book, The Triumph of Life. I recommend it highly to you. Against the backdrop of October 7th, Rabbi Greenberg pulled up an earlier well-known essay from 1974. Now, Greenberg, you should know, is a post-Holocaust theologian, a bridge builder between Jews and Christians. And in that early essay entitled Cloud of Smoke, Pillar of Fire, Rabbi Yitzhak Greenberg offered up the working principle. How do you know when your words are worthy, when your faith is worthy? He says, let there be no statement, theological or otherwise, that would not be credible in the presence of the burning children of the Shoah. And God help us now, we are in such a time again. Rabbi Greenberg says we must measure the worth of our words and the worth of our deeds and the worth of our faith in the presence of the babies, not of Auschwitz, but of the kibbutzim. There's a common expression in Israel these days, Atat tzarich lihiyot ra'ui lanu. You have to be worthy of us. You have to be worthy of us. I've heard it so many times since October 7th. It comes most often from mothers of fallen soldiers speaking at their funerals of their children, saying, I demand that you make meaning of their lives and their sacrifices. I insist that it not be for nothing. This beautiful life that was cut short must have meaning. We must give it purpose. Let it be for the fulfillment of a promise, for the fulfillment of a prayer. We must be worthy of them. Similarly, in the presence of the families of the hostages, we have to choose worthy blessings, worthy words, worthy deeds as they suffer and suffer. 6 months. John Polin is an old friend of mine from Hebrew University. His wife, Rachel Goldberg, is one of the leading voices among the hostage families. Their son Hirsch was wounded and stolen into Gaza, taken from the Nova Music Festival. And I'd like to share with you just some excerpts of Rachel's words at the UN. She says, "Hatred is easy, but it is not worthy. I understand that hatred of the other, whoever we decide the other to be, is seductive, sensuous, and most importantly, hatred is easy. But hatred is not actually helpful, nor is it constructive. In a competition of pain, there is never a winner. One thing," Rachel says, "gave me a whisper of hope. There was one thing worthy amidst the horror of October 7th. One of the witnesses with whom I spoke told me that when the rocket fire first began and all those young, music-loving hippies went running into the bomb shelter, a Bedouin man who was a guard at the kibbutz across the street also ran inside for cover. And as Hamas closed in on the bomb shelter, this man told the young people, 'Stay quiet. Let me go out and I will talk to them.' He went out and he said in Arabic, 'I am a Muslim. Everyone inside is my family. We are all Muslims. You don't have to search in there.' And he tried to save them. He could just have said, 'I am a Muslim,' and saved himself. But instead, he tried to do the right thing, even though it was terrifying, and even though it required unimaginable courage. He was brutally beaten, and the witnesses do not know what is his fate. But I take comfort, even for a fleeting moment, knowing that there was someone trying to do the right thing, even when everything in the universe was turned upside down. He showed himself worthy. We must be worthy of them." These are also the words of Brigadier General Dan Goldfuss, who broke rank when, at a press conference, this top IDF commander wanted to send a clear message to the government of Israel. He explained he's the one who sends soldiers off to battle for a just war, for disempowering Hamas, so that Israel, the Jewish state, can survive. And so he told his elected leadership, "You must push away the extremes in the government and make an effort to work on whatever it is that keeps us biyachad, that keeps us together. Be worthy of us," he said. And we must be worthy when we see the faces of innocent Gazans. This week, Rabbi Yitz Greenberg, once again, drawing from his post-Holocaust theology, he wrote this week in the Jerusalem Post that Israel must not be reason for Gazans to starve, even if Hamas is responsible for this plight. He says Israel must be responsible for the solution to protect innocents from famine. Even if this prediction, he says, of mass starvation turns out to be another UN-aided false defamation of Israel, the government of Israel must nevertheless act decisively now to turn it into a false prophecy of doom. Hamas's cruel and heartless behaviors, condemning Gazans to suffering and death, do not let Israel off the hook, Rabbi Greenberg says in his voice of Jewish ethics. And we heard this message too, we must be worthy of them, from the founder, the humanitarian, the celebrity chief of World Central Kitchen, Jose Andres. He wrote, as a friend of Israel, when 7 of his aid workers were mistaken as terrorists, he said, "I know Israelis, and Israel is better than this. Show yourselves to be worthy of my love for you. I have sat at your Seder dinner tables," he writes, "and I have heard you tell the ancient Passover stories about being a stranger in the land of Egypt, about remembering with a feast before you that the children of Israel were once slaves. Andres concludes, it is not a sign of weakness to feed strangers. It is a sign of strength, and the people of Israel need to remember at this darkest hour what strength truly looks like. Be worthy of it. Be worthy of your strength. So, good people, let this darkness that we are enduring be given meaning. In the presence of this dark reality, let us speak only words that matter. Let us perform only acts that are worthy, that are in service of more life, more peace. We have to be worthy of them all. The fallen soldiers, the wounded survivors, the 200,000 evacuees still displaced from their homes within Israel, the 134 hostages, we have reserved seats for them here in our sanctuary. Let us be worthy of them. Let us be worthy of the hostages, of the families of the hostages. Let us be worthy of students here in Toronto and across Canada who are fearful on campus. Let us be worthy of the Holocaust survivors, God bless them, who are now triggered to revisit old traumas. Our words must be worthy of being said in their presence. Our deeds must be worthy of being carried out before their very eyes. Our prayers must be worthy and be linked to theirs. It must be for the sake of something larger. It must all be for the sake of something lasting. Let us show ourselves to be worthy of reciting the blessing by the thin and dangerous light of the solar eclipse. Baruch atah Adonai, shekocho ugvurato malei olam. Praised are you, O God, ruler of the universe, whose strength and might fill the universe. Amen.